I don't really think nobody fucking with me anyway, you know what I'm saying? 24 fucking hundred. I come from that fucking block. I been out that Johnny up and up that cutter. If we cannot get.
Welcome back. We're back with another reaction video. Today we're reacting to a KTO video. The most miserable franchise in NFL history. I'm pretty sure y'all can guess who it is. It's the Browns, my guy. It's the Browns. Pray for Shador. You know how it go. Brother, if Shador turned his franchise around and that nigga went 5th round, y'all folded. Because these suck. Generationally. Shout out Jim Brown, man. Miami football casual, by the way.
Myles Garrett was talking to people about what their life is like with their teams. You guys are trying to win up there, you think? Yeah, I think so. You're trying to make the what, Super Bowl? Yeah. I want to do that. Get me the hell out of here!
I feel like our future is aligned with winning, and that's what I'm looking forward to do at this stage of my career.
For over a month, we've been working on this video with the assumption that Myles Garrett was leaving Cleveland.
It's always for me been about winning Lombardis, and we haven't had the opportunity to do that, and that's all I'm asking for.
But like they say, money talks. Regardless of the plot twist in the storyline, the contents of this video are still valid. In the 8 seasons Myles has been in Cleveland, we've seen just about everything that makes up one of the most chaotic tenures ever. As a Browns fan, you constantly think to yourself, this can't possibly get any worse. Yet, the Browns have this uncanny knack for finding new depths of misery.
Baker Mayfield, garbage.
Nigga, wish they had Baker Mayfield right now. That's my thing, though. Like, y'all ain't got no patience. Nigga, Baker got y'all to the playoffs. Y'all proceeded to say, yeah, he's not it. The nigga was dealing with a shoulder injury. Like, let him heal. He got all these commercials talking about it's my house, our house, all that dumbass. Y'all kick his ass out the stadium immediately. Like, brother, I don't want to stay here no more either. It's fine. I'm busting ass with the Bucks.
Play calling, garbage. Odell, I'm taking you out my lineup, bro.
As the great John Boyce once said, the Browns live in hell. A franchise so incompetent, you sometimes wonder if they simply exist to be the NFL's punching bag.
You are a factory of sadness!
Over a year ago, I took a deep dive into the Hugh Jackson era and just how miserable it was. This video is sort of a continuation of that storyline, with a bit of an overlap, and a change in focus away from Hugh Jackson, and more onto the team as a whole, with some emphasis on Myles Garrett's perspective. We will look into the franchise's shocking rise and fall from 2017 to now. This is how the Cleveland Browns have failed their greatest talent of my lifetime.
In life makes sense. That is not one of them.
What motivates me?
Myles Garrett.
Save that nigga from himself.
I know that I want to be the best because that's all I know. The way he bends the corner. If you don't have a perfect game against Myles, it's going to be a long game.
Myles Garrett suspended indefinitely for the remainder of the regular season.
I ain't gonna lie, you could have came to the Chiefs.
Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett.
We definitely seen your ass to the
Deshaun Watson is expected to be a Cleveland Brown.
Looks like the team's completely fractured, like the body language everywhere sucks.
To get the ball to Judy. Watson just stumbled, and now Watson is hurt. Oh, boy.
And as fans, to boo anyone and their downfall. And we should be ashamed of ourselves.
I think the Cleveland Browns have been ashamed of themselves. They used to wear bags like perennially. So
let's give a bit of background to set the stage. In 2015, the Browns went 3-13, fired head coach Mike Pettin, and hired Hugh Jackson to come try and save the franchise. In 2016, the Browns finished with the fewest wins in the NFL. A single measly victory kept them from going 0-16. Although, once you look at their roster breakdown, things begin to make sense. The team's front office had instituted an aggressive analytics approach that focused on acquiring future draft picks over current victories, otherwise unofficially known as tanking. Hugh Jackson.
But don't you normally tank with an end goal? Like, you know, the process was get high draft picks, see if they can be a franchise caliber player, and if they can't, trade them while they still have value, i.e. Michael Carter Williams. You know what I'm saying? And then make a team that could hopefully compete for a championship. Did it happen? I mean, injuries happen, but lack of mental fortitude happens. But man, acting like tanking is a bad plan. It's kind of crazy, especially in the NFL where it's fixed. Like, if it wasn't, oh yeah, worst record gets the best pick, yeah, maybe it kind of is illogical. But again, when it's, oh yeah, bro, if you suck, you're getting the #1 pick. Yeah, we're gonna suck, and we're gonna try to finesse the most picks and see who's gonna be asked next year and get those picks too. Simple. We're gonna do a super rebuild. Just find a dummy, and I mean OD draft class where it's just a whole bunch of undeniable talents, and then you run it up. I mean, it's easier than it. I mean, it's probably harder than it sounds, but
Jackson had suffered through the rough season at the forefront of the negative attention, which I previously argued was largely out of his control due to the roster he was given, and the fact that he had to coach with a staggering 6 different players at quarterback. After 2016, Hugh made a promise that people wouldn't forget.
No, I'm not going 1-15. No. Well, I'll be swimming in the lake over there somewhere. So that's not happening.
With a roster full of holes, the 2017 NFL Draft provided the first real chance for Cleveland to establish a new era. They held the rights to the #1 overall pick. No one really knows what was said within the confines of the Browns front office, as there is conflicting information out there. But the decision of what to do with the #1 pick really came down to 2 different choices. Either A, you draft your favorite quarterback prospect, or B, draft the best talent available, which in this draft was the type of talent that only comes around once in a generation.
Texas A&M had 9 performers at the scouting combine. They came out to work at the pro day, and of course, star of the day was Myles Garrett. Now, I expected him to rep on what he had done at the combine, but he came out and ran a 40 and did a long jump. I asked him why. He said, because I didn't get my best one at the combine. I wanted to show the scouts. He ran 4.6 and then called it a day. And if he's not the first pick of the draft, folks, I really don't know who is.
At first glance, Texas A&M's Myles Garrett looked like he was built in a lab. And when people turned on the tape, they quickly realized what all the hype was about.
Sean, what you gotta know, the right defensive end is the best player in college football. Don't try to escape to your left.
Garrett's terrifying speed and explosiveness resembled that of a quick, undersized linebacker. The obvious difference was that this dude was 6'4" and 270 pounds.
Myles Garrett tested through the roof, but I'm still a little hesitant. Even if he's a Hall of Famer, how much is better is he going to make the Browns compared to a quarterback? Number 2, I talked to some defensive backs on Sunday. I'll tell you, opponents love Deshaun Watson. They see the way he plays. They see his competitiveness. They see his leadership. All these guys, including guys from Alabama.
Hey, before the injury,
there's something about Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson had become a hero at Clemson after leading them to a national championship victory over Alabama.
They pass on Deshaun Watson. They're passing on Michael Jordan. I mean, I'm just telling you.
Not only was Watson a winner, but he had been a great leader. By all accounts, he was a better person than he was a football player. And he was a damn good football player. It's hard to pass up on a quarterback talent like this guy. And Cleveland did want him. From Watson himself, Hugh Jackson had texted him on draft night to be ready. Also, it is worth mentioning that the Browns were considering Mitch Trubisky as well. But ultimately, the Browns went with Myles Garrett.
I knew he was going to be the #1 pick. He's the best player on the board. Hats off to Myles.
This pick appeared to be a solid foundational piece of their future, but this still left the quarterback question on the table. Now, even though the Browns did go with Myles Garrett #1, they also had the 12th overall pick, which could have been used for Deshaun Watson, but they elected to trade the pick to Houston, and the Texans went on to select Watson, while the Browns ended up selecting Jabril Peppers and David Njoku later in the first round. By the end of the first round, all the highest graded quarterbacks were gone, which left the Browns at the top of the second round selecting Deshaun Kaiser. Kaiser, whose own college coach said that he wasn't ready, had the type of talent to be a first-round quarterback, but was really rough around the edges, and at the very least would need probably a few years to sit and learn. But he wouldn't get that in Cleveland.
On fire off the break.
But just from a casual observer from the sideline, he seems to be moving around pretty well, so I'm excited to watch him on Sunday.
Watch all day long. Robbie Anderson motions, and on 3rd down, pressure, and they got him. There he is. First play, first sack.
If you put this play in slow motion from this angle, you can see just how fast Myles jumps to his left, which led the offensive guard to barely getting a hand on him. For a first play, this is about as good as it gets. He tallied another sack in that game, and afterwards received praise from coaches and teammates.
I've seen guys that can really bend very well, but nobody has ever been close to what Garrett can do. I mean, he can basically run full speed and take a 90-degree turn to his left or his right.
But despite his great debut and an incredible rookie season, the Browns kept losing.
They suck.
Pretty clear about the fact that Antonio Brown used the block into the end zone. 2nd and goal. Kaiser, good protection over the middle, intercepted.
Pressure coming.
Brissett
gets away, wide open, Hilton at the 50. Inside the 40 and the 30.
Oh my God.
Feeling confident offensively. This is Bernard. Plenty of daylight.
Browns on 3rd and goal. Kaiser with the toss. It's dropped. It's loose.
Could have made a case for Bill O'Brien calling a timeout before that play. Instead, it's picked.
Where's Deshaun?
Former Super Bowl champion with New England. Kaiser on a bootleg pass, and that pass is picked out of the air. Field is Cleveland. Here's to Crowell. Lost the football. Covered by the Vikings.
They almost tore his ACL on that play.
2nd and goal. They're going to lunge for this here. Now they can't stop the clock. And I don't think they're going to be able to get this ball off. They're not going to be able to.
Nick.
Play action. Kaiser over the middle. Intercepted. Kaiser, it's dropped.
Kaiser, pump fakes.
He's throwing medicine balls.
Football is loose.
One-on-one, away from trips. There it is.
Buddy, shit. Oh my God.
Is looking around. The ball is batted into the air. And it is. Kaiser pumps to the right, rolls to the left, throws to the back of the end zone. Intercepted. Successful conversions on fourth down. Here comes Witkowski, and the pass is intercepted by Callahan.
Corey Coleman in the backfield. Kaiser under pressure. Somehow escapes. Kaiser's pass is incomplete.
And that one goes right through your hands.
With that final drop by 2016 first-rounder Corey Coleman, this cemented the worst two-season run in league history. Let me briefly tell you the hell that was Cleveland Browns football at this point in time. Number one,
brother, you can tell me that. I just want somebody to tell me how the fuck he dropped that pass. Not only that, why the would you get Deshaun Kaiser over Deshaun Watson? Now, I know coaches be hyping shit up, but nigga, I seen that nigga in that championship game. He was dogging Alabama. Brother, he was balling. I know he did weird afterwards. I know. Well, I'm talking about the talent right now, not the person. That was going crazy. He was a dog his first 3 years. He was really on that till he got injured. And in mental lapses from things, you know.
Browns became the second franchise ever to finish 0-16 in a season. This came along with some other shockingly bad stats, like how the Browns had lost 50 of 55 games dating back to 2014.
Trash.
With the Bills making the playoffs in 2017, Cleveland now possessed the longest playoff drought of any franchise. Number 2, Deshaun Kaiser, the project quarterback who needed tons of time to develop, was thrown to the wolves. Not only did Kaiser lead the league in interceptions, but tack on his 6 fumbles lost with a woeful lack of production.
You know, it's a tough spot to be in. I'm the winningest quarterback in this league.
Deshaun Kaiser was traded following the season, and as the Browns had suffered through yet another catastrophic failure at quarterback, the one they could have drafted was balling out.
Yes.
Early in the regular season, Deshaun Watson had taken the league by storm. He produced 5 touchdowns in a blowout win over the Titans, and then again had 5 touchdowns the following week. These just so happened to be his 2 performances prior to playing the Browns. And against Cleveland, the difference in quarterback play was staggering. While Watson looked like a Pro Bowl veteran, Cleveland's quarterback that day, Kevin Hogan, looked like he didn't belong, producing a horrendous 38.1 quarterback rating and 3 interceptions in a game where the Browns were completely overmatched. And if Browns fans weren't miserable enough, the following week, Watson put together a 400-yard, 4-touchdown performance. Unfortunately for Watson, he later suffered a torn ACL ending his rookie season. But what he had proven on the field was substantial, and he continued to cement his NFL legacy once he was healthy. For Myles Garrett, this was a promising start to his career, but the franchise had reached an all-time low. The fans held a parade to wallow in their misery, Hugh Jackson jumped in Lake Erie, and the legendary Joe Thomas decided to call it a career. With how poorly things had gone, the team cut ties with one of the main voices behind the analytics approach to roster building, Sashi Brown. And for the 2018 season, owner Jimmy Haslam decided to go in a different direction at GM.
Wow.
As I mentioned earlier, he's already spent time with the team this morning, so it's now my pleasure to introduce the GM of the Cleveland Browns, John Dorsey. John?
Thank you, Jimmy. It's my pleasure to be here. I just want to thank Dee and Jimmy for allowing me to, you know what, let's reawake the sleeping giant, the Cleveland Browns. I'm kind of excited about that.
John Dorsey had a great reputation for finding talent throughout his career. He spent 11 seasons as the director of college scouting in Green Bay and was credited in helping them choose players such as Aaron Rodgers, Clay Matthews, and Greg Jennings. As the GM of the Chiefs, along with Andy Reid, made excellent moves that helped them turn into a playoff contender after previously being one of the worst teams in the NFL. This included moves like trading for Alex Smith and drafting Travis Kelce, amongst others. Dorsey also drafted Patrick Mahomes, although Mahomes hadn't played much to that point. But looking back retrospectively, this shows that Dorsey knew how to find talent. However, he and the Chiefs parted ways.
They were talking about a contract extension, and I think it's clear those talks fell apart. You heard that maybe ownership was aggravated about some of the cap trouble resulting from the delays in getting deals done for like Eric Berry and Justin Houston.
As great a scout as Dorsey was,
nigga, don't let him be the GM. Let him be the scout. What are we doing, brother? He could tell Patrick Mahomes was going to be the one. What the are we doing? Man, whatever, man. We got our rings, man. Shout out, Mr. Dorsey, man.
He had a management style that rubbed people the wrong way and reportedly didn't handle contract negotiations well. I'll read this quote from Reddit. Quote, "The way he handled cutting Jeremy Maclin was the last straw. Cutting Maclin wasn't the issue. It was the calloused way he did it that was the issue. Dude cut Jeremy Maclin by voicemail on the day he got married, while Andy Reid was in attendance for the wedding. So Dorsey wasn't perfect. But the Browns clearly needed to acquire talent, and fast. which made Dorsey the ideal candidate. He also became immediately popular in Cleveland, to the point where fans were dressing like him.
John Dorsey, how do we look?
Well, I tell you what, you look a little undersized.
I even got myself a John Dorsey sweatshirt.
How many do you have?
7.
Because there was an excitement building in Cleveland. This was due to the moves that he would make during the 2018 offseason. On March 14th, 2018, John Dorsey made some noise. 9 players were either acquired in free agency or traded for, headlined by veteran quarterback Tyrod Taylor and, most of all, Jarvis Landry. Since the Browns had returned to Cleveland in 1999, they had just 2 receivers make a Pro Bowl, and Jarvis Landry had made 3 straight. And although they had traded for Tyrod Taylor, there was no doubt the Browns were going to draft a quarterback with the upcoming #1 pick.
In the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Baker Mayfield. Wow.
Of the 5 major quarterback prospects, Baker Mayfield certainly wasn't the most gifted or even had the most potential. However, he was accurate, decisive, made plays out of the pocket constantly, and most importantly, was a well-liked, confident leader. He had that moxie and confidence that was infectious to his teammates. And when trying to turn around a losing franchise, that's the exact type of guy you need.
You watch his teammates galvanize to him at certain parts of the game, you know this guy's got a little bit of it factor. So we as an organization are very excited to have a player like this.
3 picks after taking Baker, the Browns selected Denzel Ward, who was regarded as one of the premier corners of the class. Throughout the preseason, fans got a bird's eye view inside the Browns organization due to Hard Knocks, which gave us moments like Baker acting like John Dorsey, watching the coaches go back and forth in the coaching office, and Jarvis Landry inspiring the receiver room.
If you can practice, practice. Ain't nobody gonna get better by being on the sideline.
It's contagious, bro.
2018 was beginning to rejuvenate the fans with all the media attention. However, they still had to win games.
All right, you guys, they're called victory fridges, okay?
Yes.
Bud Light installing victory fridges in Cleveland. Ben, you were just in Cleveland. They're gonna be all Cleveland bars. They kind of look like this. Here's the deal. When the Browns win a game, fans will get a free beer. Here's the catch, though. Everyone's making the same joke. They never win.
Being led off the field. The Browns used a timeout. They have 1 timeout left. They're about to get it back, and we are about to see the pro debut, at least in the regular season, of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, and I'm interested. You know what's so crazy, bro? This the first time that Tyrod got injured, and then the young quarterback had to step up and then show he was like that. The second time, it ended up being Justin Herbert. Like, I understand that some of y'all niggas be in the way. But get out the way, bro, and let that young nigga shine, bro. Go somewhere they need a vet.
See how they're going to play it now. Landry back to field punt inside the 45. And the crowd reacts to the emergence of Baker Mayfield off the bench. We get a chance to see what Baker Mayfield's going to do. And I can tell you, I talked to him down the field before the game. I said, are you ready to go tonight? He said, I am ready to go if called upon. And this is going to be a fun drive right here, fun second half. They saw the ball come out of his hand, throwing it, and the way his teammates and the staff reacted to him on his pro day at OU. Heisman Trophy winner, former walk-on, finds Landry. This is when he's at his best, playing up tempo. Mayfield pass is caught. Here's one.
Hey, that's crazy. All of them just went down.
Pressure off the edge.
But he got a laser pointer out there.
Baker Mayfield to tie the game.
One nigga Baker caught the touchdown. I remember that play. He hard, buddy. That rookie year was tough, Baker.
In that dramatic comeback win, a star had been born. Those Bud Light fridges were unlocked, and the city of Cleveland celebrated like they had won the Super Bowl. The excitement for Baker Mayfield and this revived football team was palpable, but the Browns continued to struggle to win games. After starting the season 2-5-1, John Dorsey fired Hugh Jackson, which capped off his head coaching career with a staggering record of 3 wins, 36 losses, and 1 tie. As I previously put it, it's the most miserable coaching tenure in NFL history. Now, this firing felt like a real turning point in the organization. Hugh was painted as the ultimate villain, and the reason for all Browns fans suffering. Was it all his fault that the Browns were losing? Well, it sure gave fans fuel for the argument.
Does he see something deep? He does, and the ball is touchdown by Jarvis Landry.
The team began to rattle off victory after victory, and Hugh Jackson, in the wake of his firing, joined their rival Cincinnati, who the Browns played twice. Both times, the Browns came out on top. From the Hugh Jackson Bengals moments to Baker Mayfield waking up feeling dangerous.
And when I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
The 2018 season had been a roller coaster. Every Browns fan was thrilled to ride.
What a ride it has been this season, and I don't think any of us could feel better about where this team is headed in the future.
John Dorsey was immediately anointed the savior of Cleveland. Baker Mayfield had set the rookie record for touchdown passes. Denzel Ward was spectacular and earned Pro Bowl honors as a rookie. Jarvis Landry was a significant piece in the pass game and played an important leadership role. Myles Garrett had officially established himself as one of the best edge rushers in the game. he finished half a sack shy of the franchise record. And overall, the Browns finished with their most successful season in over a decade.
Might be the best.
Also, there was another player who made a big impact.
University there on that first kick. First carry of the game for Nick Chubb. Chubb is inside the 30.
Oh, they got Nicolai.
And he takes it all the way.
Mr. Chubb.
And Mayfield gets it in the hands of Chubb. His third carry today. His first ball is a big one. And so is this one. Chubb takes it all the way. His second touchdown. On second down, it's Chubb. Nick Chubb across the 40.
But he's after multiple inches already, bro.
Chubb will take this all the way. 92 yards.
Nick Chubb went from being unrecognized at the airport to finishing 7th in the NFL in yards per carry with over 5 yards a rush. Now, Baker might have gotten all the hype, and Myles Garrett was the most talented, but Nick Chubb, man, this dude became the heart and soul of Cleveland football. This video is going to continue to get real chaotic and noisy, but it's an important point to remember that Nick Chubb remained a constant throughout this time. Quiet, calm, never celebrating outside of doing the airplane that one time, and simply just did his job. Oh, and by his job, I mean to say that he became the only running back in NFL history to average over 5 yards a carry in each of his first 4 seasons. You're not going to hear too many fans hating on Nick Chubb. No player is more loved in Cleveland than this dude. Just had to say this now, because, like I said, things are about to get crazy again, because John Dorsey's wild moves had only
like
just begun.
Nah, you hating. He got to be at least 6'1". What that is? That ain't KTO.
Browns got Odell Beckham.
Are you shitting me?
Odell Beckham Jr. is a Cleveland Brown.
Odell Beckham Jr. in a Cleveland Browns jersey.
And the Browns have accumulated so much talent that people are now going to talk about them as a threat to win the AFC North and compete to even get to the AFC Championship game.
Usually 99% of these things that you plan for don't pan out, but this happened to be one of those 1% that actually, came to reality.
This is crazy. I'm like in complete shock right now.
This trade simply broke the NFL world. With social media becoming such a big part of the way we consumed the world, nobody was bigger in football than Odell Beckham Jr. Even to this day, he's the most popular NFL player on Instagram, and it's not even close. John Dorsey stands were out in full force.
All he has done is make bold decisions with his spine and his brain and saying, I'm here to win.
The moves that John Dorsey has been able to make in just a couple years as a general manager, just flipping that entire organization, is just jaw-dropping.
This man had taken the ashes of that 0-16 dumpster fire and made them into one of the most exciting and thrilling hype teams in recent memory.
Are the Browns Super Bowl contenders?
When we start talking about what wins Super Bowls, we talk about talent. The Browns.
Why not? Once you get to that point, anything can happen. I think the Browns should be right in it.
The Browns are a Super Bowl contender.
I ain't want to have to do this to Michael Irvin, but nigga, what you know about See, all the dogs, this is the problem. All the dogs think they know talent because they was talented. Nigga, don't be knowing that shit. Nigga, look at the team. Oh yeah, the Cowboys like that. You've been screaming the Cowboys like that for the past 25 years, nigga. They ain't been on respectfully. So you don't know what you seeing out there, gang. Realistically.
10 please. Pretty obviously.
To get a gauge of what the times were like, this was one of the most liked comments on the First Take video from 2019. Quote, Cleveland Browns are the new America's team. It's not often that one of the best players in the NFL becomes available, but there were multiple reasons Odell was on the market. Here's how the New York Post described his situation with the Giants. Quote, there is an Odell-ness to Odell Beckham Jr., and after 5 years, it eventually ran its course for the Giants. Some inside the building feel a sense of relief that a superstar receiver will no longer bring unwanted attention to a franchise that did not necessarily grow sick of him, but grew increasingly exhausted, trying to keep up with the issues and notoriety that clung to him the way the football stuck to his huge right hand. Beckham was a solo artist, gifted, but self-absorbed. There are no fence sitters with Beckham, and his exit is a curse or a blessing, depending on your Odell meter. Well, it was clear where John Dorsey stood on this dilemma.
You can't have enough passionate, competitive guys on your football team. And here's a guy that shows up, loves the game of football. His teammates love him. That speaks volumes when your teammates begin to rave about you, because that shows the mark of who this person really is.
The Browns have become one of the main focal points in the entire league. And with so much pressure, so many loud and expressive personalities to deal with in the locker room, who did John Dorsey hire as head coach to handle all this?
It's my pleasure to introduce the 17th head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Freddie Kitchens.
Freddie Kitchens.
Thank you, John, for all those kind remarks. Hopefully everybody agrees with you.
Freddie Kitchens, the man who gives the vibe of a good old boy from Alabama, had been credited with sparking the Browns offense throughout the back half of 2018, where he served as the team's interim offensive coordinator and play caller. Despite the success, this head coaching decision is pretty peculiar. Kitchens had not only never been a head coach at any level, but outside of that half-a-season stretch in 2018, he had never even been a coordinator. He had been an NFL position coach since 2006. In 2018, he began the season as the Browns running backs coach. Then, 1 year later, he was a head coach, an unprecedented leap by NFL standards. On one side, this was a dubious move.
The least qualified candidate on the market. I mean, this is classic Cleveland. You give him a little 3-game winning streak, they're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, we gotta hire this guy. I don't think he's ever been a high school head coach.
On the other, everything Dorsey touched in Cleveland turned to gold. Maybe making the new franchise quarterback happy should be priority number one.
What has Freddie Kitchens' game plan done for you guys as an offense?
Just making us comfortable. You know, I think the way that we communicate about it, or the way that we talk about, if we don't like something, we're not going to run it.
So, how did things turn out?
As Odell says to Sports Illustrated, this wasn't no business move. This was personal. They thought they'd send me here to die. I mean, that's heavy. That's heavy.
I'm gonna just say it like this: that's not a good mentality to have, especially when you go into a new place. Like, brother, what do you mean to die? Nigga, it's just Cleveland. Like, I know you're used to New York and you got a boisterous personality, but it's just Cleveland. You only gotta stay there a few months out of the year. Then your ass can do whatever you want in LA or New York or whatever. Like, that nigga is a diva for real. He just do too much. I love Odell, but that nigga's overly dramatic.
That he would say something like that. He knows the Giants received better offers for him in the story.
Really?
But still chose to send him to Cleveland, and he believes it was out of spite.
Footwork is
It's almost like a backhand towards Cleveland. Isn't it away from him? Like, does he sound like he's thrilled to be in Cleveland? He actually doesn't.
It was a game we've been anticipating for a long time. Unfortunately, it became a game we want to forget immediately.
On the far side.
Again, they come after Mayfield. He's blown the ball's out.
The Browns losing their season opener 43-13.
Opening day was a bad omen. It was flat out embarrassing to witness.
I'm gonna tell you again, man, they were who we thought they were. Y'all can crown them if you want to crown them. Still got to play football.
The offensive line couldn't protect Baker, and overall, the whole team looked sloppy.
Penalties. I mean, all day.
The next 3 weeks saw the Browns scratch and claw to a 2-2 record, which included Baker connecting with OBJ on a long touchdown versus the Jets on Thursday Night Football. Sitting at 2-2, sadly, this was about as good as the 2019 season got for the Browns.
Cleveland Browns have lost 4 straight games. They lost a game to the Denver Broncos, who were starting a quarterback who had to stretch his hands to impress NFL scouts when he was at Arkansas. And that's where the Cleveland Browns are right now.
During this 4-game losing streak, I traveled to see them play the Niners and the Broncos. And I wish I hadn't. Cleveland did find their way to get back to winning. First, they defeated Buffalo, and then they got a much-needed victory over their rival Pittsburgh. In the final seconds of that game, things finally looked headed in the right direction. But then, this happened.
He'll be the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. You're giving it to him right now. I am. There's a flag as...
Oh, yeah, he hit the buddy out with a...
It's inexcusable.
And the Castle's
I
trying
don't
to
care,
punch
rivalry or not.
Miles.
We can't do that.
I'm embarrassed. Miles is embarrassed.
But Miles not embarrassed. Y'all don't speak for Miles, nigga. Lil Buddy said some he shouldn't have said, supposedly, allegedly, because I still ain't had the resolution. Like, I don't know what happened. Because y'all still got Mason Rudolph in the league, and he supposedly said words. I'm going to just leave it at that.
It's not good.
You snatch a guy's helmet off, and you take said helmet and hit the guy in the head. Yep. I believe at the bare minimum, he's gone for the rest of the season.
I don't care.
The strike of the helmet to Mason Rudolph's head instantly became one of the most shocking in-game moments any of us had ever seen. Myles Garrett had been on a tear that season. At one point, he was on pace to break the all-time single-season sack record, and was probably the frontrunner to win Defensive Player of the Year. But with this moment, it was all over. Not only his season, but his reputation, at least in the short term. Later on, Myles claimed in an ESPN interview that Mason Rudolph called him a racial slur.
Yeah, he called me the N-word. He called me a stupid N-word.
There was immediate backlash from the public. Many people didn't believe Myles when he said this, and in some ways, it hurt his reputation even more.
Why would he lie?
Whether Rudolph called him the N-word or not, and even if Mason Rudolph is the one who started it by trying to rip off Myles' helmet, Myles still used the helmet as a weapon and swung it at his head. With the suspension, this pretty much killed any momentum the Browns season had. Their best player was gone for the year. Even when the Browns won in 2019, they lost. The Browns, who began the year hailed as Super Bowl contenders, finished the season with an abysmal 6-10 record. That alone was embarrassing, but all the drama surrounding the team made it much worse. OBJ had put up the worst per-game numbers of his career, and other than his play, here was his most notable moments year one in Cleveland. There was a constant issue with the dress code related to Odell.
Odell Beckham Jr. talked about it after the game last night, that the NFL told him and Jarvis Landry that their shoes were non-conforming, and they had to go change their shoes if they wanted, or they wouldn't be allowed to play in the second half.
He told other teams to come get him.
They played the 49ers, Seahawks, and Patriots in October. That Beckham said to opposing players, "Come get me," meaning that he was hoping it would happen before the 2019 trade deadline.
He also had the verbal spat with Freddie Kitchens on the sidelines. And there were trade rumors that popped up at one point. For the rest of the Browns offense, outside of Jarvis Landry and Nick Chubb, they were a disaster. Baker had regressed, which was alarming considering the talent he had around him.
This man, bro, and here's the thing, you got to think about it like this. Nigga, my main receiver don't want to be here. My coach is a rookie. Matter of fact, I got more games in the NFL than my coach does. And it's year 2 for me, bro. Year 3? One of the two. Year 2 or year 3. Why was Baker supposed to succeed in this situation? How was anybody supposed to succeed in this situation? Y'all hiring anybody. Nigga, y'all could have hired me. At least my place be hitting on Madden. Y'all tripping.
Has more commercials than wins. Do you know with Progressive alone,
that has nothing to do with Baker, though.
And then you add a couple of more to Heisman and something else. He's got about 8 different commercials. You see him everywhere.
It's not
but
Baker's
somehow,
fault.
some way, he's got more commercials than wins.
He threw almost as many interceptions as touchdowns, and his quarterback rating took a massive dip. The blame for all of this went square on the shoulders of Freddie Kitchens.
Let's say they're an undisciplined team. They just don't
lead the league in penalties.
The changes offensively resulted in a lot more sacks, penalties, less yards, and lower points per game. One of the most telling moments of the incompetency of Freddie Kitchens was he ran a draw play on 4th and 9. This colossal failure not only got Freddie Kitchens fired, but the team also parted ways with Don Dorsey after just 2 seasons. A shocking rise and fall for the once beloved GM.
A familiar face officially joins the Browns in a new role. Today, the team introduced Andrew Berry as its new general manager.
Damn.
Previously worked with the Browns as VP of player
I'm telling
personnel
you,
for
Dorsey don't need to be a GM. He needs to be a scout. He clearly doesn't know what he's doing unless it comes to evaluating talent. That's it.
2016 to 2018, and said he is happy.
A good leader would have put him in the correct role.
Back in 2009, the college coach who was at Harvard, Tim Murphy, told the Harvard Crimson, quote, "For my 2 cents, he, as in Andrew Berry, will be running an NFL team in 15 years. At 37 years old, he'll be running an NFL franchise. I have no question." Well, Murphy was way off. It only took Berry 10 years. After working in front offices for a few seasons, including for the Browns at one point, Jimmy Haslam hired the 32-year-old Andrew Berry to run the show. And before he hired Berry, Haslam had already hired the Browns' next head coach, Kevin Stefanski. Stefanski spent many years in Minnesota, most recently as their offensive coordinator in 2019. He had a great track record with multiple quarterbacks, and the Browns felt like he could get Baker and the offense back on track.
This probably be the end of the video, and I'll kick it with y'all in part 2. My main thing is, when you are a GM, not a GM, when you're the owner of a team, why would you hire a coach before you hire the GM? Or vice versa? Nigga, they need to be a package deal. Because I promise you, when I fire y'all ass, I'm firing y'all both together. I'm not about to be like, oh yeah, let me fire the coach because it's going to be hard to replace the GM. No, nigga, y'all are both getting fired together. Y'all made these decisions together, my nigga. Throw y'all ass in the trash can. But yeah, that's part 1 of why the Browns suck generationally. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share the video, share your thoughts on the video, comment section below. You know? Hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date when I drop videos on the channel. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe, y'all. Like, nigga.
Baby, slide by to my